Far away from the busy cities, deep inside a quiet forest, there was a small wooden cabin beside a peaceful lake. The cabin belonged to a young woman named Clara. Clara loved quiet places. She loved soft mornings, gentle rain, warm tea, and the sound of nature. Every day, she lived slowly and peacefully near the lake. Each morning, she woke up to birds singing outside her window. Sunlight slipped softly through the curtains while the forest moved gently in the wind. One evening, after a long peaceful day, Clara wrapped herself in a warm sweater and stepped outside onto the small porch of her cabin. The air was cool and fresh. The lake looked like silver glass under the moonlight. Tiny fireflies danced above the grass like little stars. Clara carried a soft blanket and sat beside the lake in her favorite chair. Next to her was a small lantern glowing with warm golden light. Everything around her was calm. No loud cars. No crowded streets. Only the sound of crickets, moving trees, and gentle water touching the shore. Clara closed her eyes for a moment and listened carefully. The forest had its own music. The leaves whispered softly. Owls called from far away. The wind moved slowly through the trees. And the lake quietly breathed against the rocks. After a while, Clara opened her small book and began reading under the lantern light. The story inside the book was peaceful, but soon her eyes became sleepy. She smiled softly and placed the book on her lap. Above her, thousands of stars filled the night sky. Clara always loved looking at the stars. When she was little, her grandfather told her stories about the constellations. He said every star carried a quiet dream through the night. Sometimes Clara still remembered his calm voice. Tonight, the sky looked endless. A soft breeze moved across the lake, carrying the smell of pine trees and cool water. Clara pulled the blanket closer around her shoulders. In the distance, she heard the quiet sound of a train passing somewhere beyond the forest hills. The sound was soft and peaceful. Slowly, clouds drifted across the moon, making the world even quieter. Clara stood up and walked slowly along the wooden dock beside the lake. The water reflected the stars perfectly, like another sky hidden below. She sat down at the edge of the dock and dipped her fingers gently into the cold water. Small circles spread quietly across the lake. For a long time, she simply sat there without thinking about anything. No worries. No stress. Only the calm night around her. Eventually, Clara returned to the cabin. Inside, the fireplace still glowed softly with orange light. The room smelled like wood, tea, and old books. She placed another small piece of wood into the fire and listened to it crackle quietly. Then she made a cup of warm honey tea. Holding the warm cup carefully, Clara sat beside the window and watched the peaceful forest outside. The fire flickered gently behind her. The wind moved softly outside. And little by little, her eyes became heavy with sleep. Before going to bed, Clara opened the cabin door one last time. The lake shimmered under the moonlight. The forest stood silent and calm. And the whole world seemed to whisper, "Rest now." Clara smiled softly. Then she closed the door, climbed into her warm bed, and slowly drifted into peaceful sleep while the quiet forest watched over her through the night.